Welcome to the show, by the way. I'm excited to talk to you about the song Daisies because, it's a song about keeping your dreams on track. You have a certain way of going. You want to keep going no matter what people say. And I was thinking about the pandemic and how it's affecting dreams. People had plans, they had dreams, people had a course, and that's sort of stopped. So I wonder how you're listening to the song now, through the lens of the pandemic.
Well, what it did is it definitely brought great pause to everyone.
Mm.
And in some ways, I've been saying that like your worst demons showed up at your front door, knocked on your door and said, "Hey, do you want to hold hands for 3 months? Why don't you face me? You can't run from me now. You have nowhere to go. You have absolutely nowhere to go. So let's have a chat." And it was a, and it has been, look, it's been an opportunity. Obviously, it's been incredibly overwhelming and intense and, a nightmare for some. It's been so many different levels of emotions, right? Daisies for me, initially it was just kind of the commentary about, when I wrote it, it was like the commentary on how people really like, they think you're crazy, they think you're out of your mind, or like, they laugh at you or the size of your dreams, or, they go, "Oh, I'm not sure you can do that. You're a woman, or you're a person of color, or you come from a different socioeconomic background or what have you. So of course you'll never be able to be that. You have to, blah, blah, blah." But what it did in the pandemic is that it gave pause, and that I feel like a lot of people were like, "Oh, I really put a lot of dreams on the shelf and thought I could I could just like access them whenever I wanted to. And I can't now. So by golly, when I get out of this thing, I'm going to go for it." And it's almost like I'm in training. Now I'm in dream training. And finally, when I get back on the track, I'm not going to take things for granted again.
I'm happy you mentioned the song's about, in some ways it's being about being told what you can't do, and then sort of proving that you can. And that's what a lot of people say about the song and what you've written so far. And I've never really viewed it that way until getting ready for this interview. You've been outspoken about mental health recently, and when I was getting ready to look at the record, I heard you say that the new record is about finding your smile again. I wonder if you could tell me a little bit about that.
It's just, I lost my smile. I don't know if my smile was ever fully like authentically mine, but I was riding on the high of a smile for a long time, which was, the validation and love and admiration from the outside world. And then that shifted because like my career was on this trajectory where it was going up, 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 up. And then I had like the smallest shift. It wasn't like that huge, maybe from an outside perspective, but for me it was seismic. And it was like, they say if a ship is 1 degree off from their navigation, they'll land on like a different continent.
So you're saying things were kind of going and going and going, and they just moved ever so slightly, and it was just like a full 90-degree trajectory change for you, and it kind of freaked you out?
Yeah, more than slightly, but they moved, and it was the first time to feel that. And I had built so much on, I had given so much out, and it literally like kind of broke me in half. I think I had broken up with my boyfriend, who's now my baby daddy to be. And then I was like excited about flying high off of the next record, and the record didn't get me high anymore. Like it didn't make me excited. Well, the validation didn't get me high. And so like, I just crashed. And it was a good crash. It was like a necessary brokenness. Like it was so important for me to be broken so that I could find my wholeness in a whole different way and be, more dimensional than just like living my life like a thirsty pop star all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a type of gratitude that not everybody gets to know when things don't go the way they want. And I think I have time for one more question, if you can handle that. Teenage Dream came out 10 years ago, and that kind of threw me off guard. But what a big record it was. Not to mention Firework, which I mentioned earlier, nominated for 6 Grammys, broke concept records, all that. Given what you're telling me, and when you hear those songs come on in the store or in the bar or in the car, do you recognize that person? Does it feel like the same person?
Yeah, I mean, that person was a little bit more head in the clouds, Fantasyland, escapism central, like permanently at Disneyland. That was like an ignorance is bliss time.
Yeah.
And it really was. It was like almost like the internet had just kind of started to happen. Social media wasn't in full fledged. And, we weren't in the middle of a pandemic or a revolution. So there was this beautiful ignorance is bliss. And you meet people that still live in that state and you're like, oh my gosh, how lucky are you? But, I would rather feel all of these feelings than just be lost in ignorance is bliss, because I think there's deeper feelings when you survive something, or when you live through something, or you live and learn, and it's not just all a fantasy lifestyle.
That sounds like the definition of gratitude. When you look back at who you were then and when you were a different person, you find gratitude for who you are now and everything you've done.
Gratitude is probably the thing that saved my life, because if I didn't find that, I would have wallowed in my own sadness and probably just jumped. But I found the ways to be grateful, and every morning I wake up, it's the first thing I say this is the very first thing I say out loud before I check my phone, because that's the second thing we all do, right? I just wake up and I say, thank you, God, for today. I am grateful in every way. And that's been the light at my end of the tunnel.
Well, I just want to say that ultimately I'm the grateful one to be able to interview you. And when I was getting ready for this interview, I was listening back to a lot of your records and just thinking about all the people that did their makeup, listening to some of your music, or who has had like some of the best nights of their lives, listening to some of your songs. And it really got me thinking about how we don't give enough credit to the music that makes us feel joy. I mean, as much as I do appreciate the music that makes us feel depth, I don't think we give enough credit to the music that makes us feel joy. So I'm really grateful for it, and also for the chance to talk to you. So thank you.
Thanks, Tom. You've been a delight. I'll speak with you anytime.